Hey, what's up, everyone? Brad Chmielewski here with episode 141 of Shatter The Vain. This is a pretty fun episode. A little different. There's a lot of news happening with the franchise system and new teams coming in here. But this announcement is about one announcement. This episode is about one announcement. Hey everyone, Brad Chmielewski here with episode 141 of Shatter the Vain. This episode is a really fun announcement. There's a lot of news happening with the esports scene, and VIS just finished up, and that pedal skin is out. But we're not going to talk about this. We're going to focus on one of the new esports organization joining the Halcyon Fold. I got Rogue on to talk about them coming into the scene, their new team, acquiring Anarchy, all this great stuff. It's a really cool announcement, and I'm excited to see these orgs coming into the scene. I know Rogue has a fantastic Overwatch team, so if anyone who's a fan of Overwatch, you may be familiar with the organization. Before they even came in here. So this is really good. So we just sit down and talk with them for I think about 30 minutes here. So pretty quick, pretty short episode. But yeah, it's a great story. Love seeing the esports scene growing, and I think it's just going to have a big impact on the community here moving forward into 2017. I can't wait for Evil 8 to start. It's going to be awesome. Before we get in there, I want to mention the Patreon page. That's over at patreon.com/shatterthevain. So check that out if you can support the podcast. That's awesome. If not, I appreciate everyone that listens, everyone that watches on YouTube, everyone that's subbed. For over 6,000 subs now on there. So that's pretty great. I know I haven't been putting every episode since we started on YouTube, since we started as a audio podcast, and it's still available as audio, but it's over there on YouTube as well. So that's really exciting to see. So always having great content on that channel. Hopefully everyone's enjoying it, and yeah, liking these episodes as well. But let's do it. Let's get into the announcement. You've probably read about it, you heard about it. Let's do it. 141.
Shatter the Vain, a podcast about vainglory.
This is the 141st episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about vainglory. Every week, I try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can all become better players together. And each episode, bring on people that love the game, love the community, and just helping it grow. And this week, I have a couple great guests with a really exciting announcement for Vainglory and the esports scene. I got Adrian and Frank joining me. Welcome.
How are you doing?
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, good to have you guys here. Do we wanna start with the announcement and then come back on how it all happened? Do we want to lead people on for a little bit?
Sure, that works. Let's start with the announcement.
All right, so yeah, kick it off. What's this big news that I think it got announced today, if depending on when people are listening or watching this.
Greg, you want to take it away?
Well, at Anarchy, we've been working for the past 4 months, and we are being acquired by Rogue, and we're very happy and proud to represent them in the upcoming year of competitive vainglory.
And this means this is one of the franchise spots that was up for grabs that Super Evil put out there, right?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Okay. So I guess for Rogue, you guys are a pretty newish esports organization, right?
Yes, we've only been around for about 8 months, but it's been a crazy 8 months.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about Rogue, or let everyone know who you guys are. I believe you guys have a pretty great Overwatch team right now, right? That's
Yep.
what I hear.
Yeah, so I've been in the esports space for about 8 years. I was an owner of Enemy, which had an LCS team and some other
Oh yeah.
teams. But uh, with Rogue, my main focus was creating an organization that was able to get into whatever esport had an opportunity for it, um, as soon as that opportunity came up. Uh,
Okay.
so so we started really with the launch of Overwatch because new organization really needed a new game to create a solid foundation. So many organizations have tried to enter an existing scene as their first game and have been mediocre or not been that top echelon, and it's really
Okay.
affected their organization. So we started with Overwatch, which was a new game, and we acquired what I thought was the best team in the world uh, pre-launch. So when the
Okay.
game launched in May, we won the first post-launch online tournament. We won the first post-launch LAN. We won the first major international tournament, and we won the largest prize pool that there's been in Overwatch so far.
Damn. Wow. Okay. So, so you were right in that decision there to pick those guys.
Yeah, yeah, I got lucky. I was able to build a really good team in Overwatch, and they're still uh, doing extremely well. They've been in the lab for about a month because there hasn't been a tournament this month. So they've just been scrimming and getting ready for the next set of tournaments.
So then I guess. So then, how did Vainglory come across your plate? Like, how did you just hear about it? Was it like the franchise thing? Was that just getting passed around by esports owners, like just buzz building?
Well, so I had known about Vainglory. I had watched a fair bit of Evil 8, but I went to lunch with a friend of mine here in Vegas, Brent Caskel. He now works for Energy, but at the
Okay.
time he was a free agent, and he told me that he had been looking into the Vainglory scene, and he thought that the mobile esports scene was really going to explode in the next couple years, and that Vainglory was the first true esport in in mobile, and I agreed with him. I knew of the Evil 8 already. I had watched a little bit of
Okay.
it, and it seemed like the first truly competitive game for mobile, and so I started researching it very quickly after that. I sent out a tweet, I think in October,
Okay.
saying that I was really enjoying Vainglory and thought it had a really cool community and I'd love to learn more. And I got really lucky because the Vainglory Twitter account retweeted that tweet, and so players and analysts and coaches and organizations all started DMing my Twitter, asking me what I wanted to know. The community was very
Okay.
accepting and very quickly tried to get me up to speed.
Nice. Uh, so then, so now with the formerly Anarchy, why'd you pick them, or how did that come about? Like, why not just come in like you did for Overwatch and just pick up who you thought was the best team?
So I, I I don't know enough about Vainglory to be an expert at Vainglory. And
Okay.
I felt like I really needed a manager and coach that I had a lot of respect for and a lot of trust in uh, to enter the scene properly. And
Okay.
Greg here is that for me. He's someone that knows the scene extremely well, has developed talent within the scene, has gotten to the Evil 8 on his own merits, and now has the ability to take these players to the next level.
Nice. So, Greg, how did this conversation start? I know if we step back a little bit, last time you were possibly going to be on was with Odds talking about this Vertigo takeover, and then that all of a sudden like blew up in everyone's face, and then you guys rebrand it, and now this. So if you want to take me back a little bit on how you got to this point now with Rogue.
So it's been a pretty long journey. You know, there's been a lot of things that have happened, and I formed the team, and we started playing the same day deadlines were due for the Autumn VIS first split. We found Archaic the same day the deadline was. So essentially,
Okay.
we had never even played an entire game together as a team before the Autumn split, and
Jeez.
we were lacking the management and overall the organizational support with Vertigo, and I was seeking other options at the time. So I was
Okay.
looking to take the team and find an organization that was going to support us.
Okay.
So
So you kind of wanted, you were more about the team rather than this community that was Vertigo at the time. Like your
my main
thought was
focus has always been to take care of the players. Like I feel
okay.
like that's what lacks in esports personally right now. I feel like there's a lot
Fair
of
enough.
ingenuine personalities that are out to make a buck. And for me, I've always told Hammy, I've always told Evol, and even Archaic and Afro when they played here, and Stormy, that they were my first interest. I've talked to I don't know how many parents explaining what their kids were doing with competitive Vainglory. A lot of the parents didn't speak English, so I found translators in the community to help me. I've dedicated I don't know how many hours to doing everything that I do, and I just couldn't play competitively. So I decided to take a step back and manage the team myself, essentially
Okay.
because I was already doing it. So we were going to leave, and Josh had offered me 100% ownership. So I decided, okay, cool, we'll do it, and we'll keep the Vertigo name going. And that was what we wanted to do because it's your home. You want to play where home is, and that's what we knew as home. So,
Yeah.
um, and I've never been a person that's going to be shady or lie to you behind your face. I'm one of those people that I'm upfront. I don't really care for people that are toxic in aspects of telling
Okay.
people to kill themselves or cyberbully people.
Fair
Which
enough.
is a
Yeah.
really big problem with a lot of MOBA communities, not just Vainglory, but every MOBA that you play. It's pretty rough, and you have those. But so Josh Josh is an interesting person. I have respect for what he did, but he never really stepped back and tried to get out of the way. I think he tried to keep himself involved enough to where if things had gotten bigger or if they had taken off, that he could come back and
Reap the
essentially
reward,
reap
kind
the
of.
reward. Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly. Um, so I said, well, that's not how this is going to happen. We decided to do the rebrand.
Okay.
Um, well then I told I told the team that the goal was to get the team acquired. Why is that?
Okay.
As an individual, I wrote this crazy letter on Twitter not too long ago, but by myself, I've honestly had no clue how to do everything that I've done this far. And that's the
Okay.
straightforward truth. I've essentially tried to figure everything out on my own. I've had very little help, very minimal advice, and almost no support. So I've applied for roughly 98 sponsorships of my own accord. I was able to get 3 of them and 6
Nice.
responses. But that's what I try to tell people is if you fail, you don't stop. So I DM'd Rogue shortly after hearing that they were interested in picking up a Vainglory team. And I was surprised, one, that I got a response back. I guess it's really skeptical of me to sit here and think that I was going to get a response back from a bigger org because I had tried and failed so many times before. But if you don't try, then you don't know. So I reached out and I said, "Hey, are you looking for a Vainglory team? We're in the North American Evil 8, and I can tell you more about the team." And I don't even think it was an hour later. I got a response back saying, "Absolutely, go ahead and add me on Skype."
Whoa, that's like that's
I was
pretty
like,
awesome.
wow, I'm not filling out some application or some form. I was like, I'm going to get to talk to a person. And Frank's been overly genuine. Um, that's what made me feel very comfortable about Rogue in general was I had a couple other opportunities that we were being offered. And as I said, I'm a genuine person, so I'd like somebody with similar character traits. And I feel as though Rogue has offered nothing but the truth. I feel like they're an honest, hardworking org. They like to have fun, and they're similar minded to us. So I felt that we were going to get the support we didn't have, and I got offered an opportunity to join an organization full of genuine individuals, and everyone that I've met so far is terrific. We look forward to playing for Rogue. Like, it's not one of those things where we sold out. It's one of those things we did to better ourselves, and we want to better an organization that wants to help us, help them, help us.
So that Frank, were you already like in the process of the getting the franchise spot before the team, or did it like the team happen and it was like, okay, now I can get involved with this franchise and kind of secure this spot? Because the franchise system is a huge benefit for organizations that want to support the players.
Sure. I started talking to Vainglory in November, and I filled out the application where I listed 4 teams I was interested in instead of having a team already. And it turned out that none of those teams I was interested in were the team that I ended up going with.
Okay.
But yeah, so Anarchy, I found out that they were looking for an organization after I had already been accepted.
Oh, okay. Nice. So that kind of, I guess that almost saved you a little bit of the headache, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was lucky. The Super Evil Megacorp employees are amazing, and they were all giving me advice on different teams that I should look at. The whole crew over at Super Evil Megacorp is just on the ball all the time, super quick to respond. They do just a wonderful job over there. It's funny that tweet that I mentioned that got me really interested in Vainglory in the first place because the community was so quick to reach out and offer help. Um, the the Vainglory Twitter retweeted it, but I didn't know who had retweeted it.
Right.
So I was telling Christian, the CEO, that story, and he said, "Oh yeah, that was me."
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I guess you never know who you're talking to on Twitter or who's retweeting because yeah, they all have those passwords and
Yep.
access. So that's pretty awesome. So now, what does it mean for the team? I know, Frank, you're in Vegas. We're gonna see a house, a team house, like a TSM has. Are you gonna bring all the players out there, or kind of what's first for the team and entering the scene?
So for Team House, we're not sure yet. We don't know whether it's even necessary for Vainglory yet, uh, and so we'll see. We're actually moving the Overwatch team to Vegas right now,
Okay.
and so it looks like we're going to have a little uh, compound of apartments in Vegas and practice space. So so we'll see how everything goes. I know that some of the players need to stay where they are through August. Uh, so after August, there's the possibility of having a team house here in Vegas, which I would love because TSM's Vainglory team is already here in Vegas.
Right.
So it'd be really convenient for scrims if we could have them in the same room in a LAN type environment.
Yeah. What's made Vegas this esports location? Like, is there something that other people don't know that's going on there, or is it just a easy place to get housing, kind of
I mean, it's
for
it's
the
cheaper than California, right? I
yeah.
so I lived in the League of Legends team house for my old organization in California until I started Rogue. And California is great, but it's so spread out. It takes an hour and a half to get to any other team's team house. Here in Vegas, everything is within 30 minutes of each other. It takes 45 minutes max to get from one side of Vegas to the other, and that's all the way out in the suburbs. So it's more concentrated. Uh, a lot of the casinos are doing esports events and trying
Nice.
to improve the local scene. A company that we're associated with, Leet, runs tournaments for a couple of hotels and casinos down here. Uh, there's Millennial Esports over at Neonopolis downtown.
Hmm.
SLS is running Dota and Gears of War tournaments. Uh, there's MLG Vegas, DreamHack Vegas. Vegas is becoming a bit of a hub for esports, and I really hope that
That's
it
pretty cool.
explodes.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Yeah, that'd be nice. I think my dad has a house out there, so maybe I'll have to come and visit and yeah, check out some of these teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we got your guys' announcement. We have EchoFox coming in. What do you think all this like? Any predictions for the Vainglory esports scene this coming year? Because this franchise system is, I guess, it's opening up the doors to I think a lot of opportunities for players and organizations.
I think you're going to see a lot more structured play. Uh, I- so this is something that's really a no-no for people coming into a scene to say, but I do see places where the game can be played better if MOBA experts are analyzing the game and helping the teams improve. I think the game's young enough that there's a lot of room for a lot of improvement. When I look at any MOBA, the first four things I think about are risk assessment, risk aversion, team fighting communication, and objectives, right?
Right.
Objective control, right? Those four aspects of the game uh, are all things that could use a lot of fleshing out in any MOBA. But Vainglory is young enough that I think that there's a lot of improvement that can be made in those four areas that can really make the game more structured. I think a lot of what we saw from Phoenix Armada at the World Championship was
Yeah.
that Phoenix was playing a tighter style than the rest of the teams, and I'm hoping that we can bring some of that over the course of a year and a half to the North American scene.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And then, so Greg, you're sticking on as manager? Any thoughts on how you think this is gonna affect the scene? Or I guess it's exciting to see all these orgs come in here.
I think it's going to make it a stronger competitive community for a number of reasons. One is what we used to have before was seasonal contracts. And what you're going to get with the bigger orgs is you're going to get long-term contracts. You're going to find players playing it out and toughing it out for the span of roughly about a year with each team.
Uh
Now
huh.
there'll be, obviously within contract rules and negotiation, and I don't know everybody's terms, but I do know that you're going to see a lot of teams that have to stay and fight through it rather than just run away from each other, which is what we've
Okay.
typically seen in the past. Is you lose, oh well, this team's not working out, on to the next one. Whereas now it's going to be like, we're tied into this now, so you got to figure it out. So are you going to practice and play and prevail, or are
Yeah.
you just going to crumble and fall apart? I think that it's going to be taxing on the competitive scene in a way that it hasn't been before, where um, you know it's gonna bring in more players. It's gonna bring in players that might have thought that they could have been competitive League of Legends players at one point, and they're big fans of this. But then they see this MOBA and they go, "Oh, I could do that on my phone. I could do that." So I think we're gonna get
Okay.
more skilled players coming in, more players with MOBA knowledge. I think it's gonna broaden the competitive pool And I think it's going to make the competitive scene more competitive. I think the Challenger Series is going to be no joke again. I think it's going to be even harder. You got to think there's only 8 teams, and out of those 8 teams, we've announced a couple new players that haven't been in the Evil 8 before or have for a short stint. So the rest of them that are coming back to play now are all making Challenger teams. So that
Okay.
Challenger pool is going to be really hard to grind through, and you're going to have to fight and earn your spot. So I think that there's a lot of room for teams to prove that Vainglory can stand that long-term test of time that it hasn't really before. Teams like Phoenix, Armada, they've been playing together and living together for like a year, and TSM has been playing together and living together for at least a year. So I think that it's a matter of proving that they can stay together and show that orgs that they have a sustainability that a bigger org needs. They have that ability to stay together and get better. You watch League of Legends or you watch any other teams. It's not we picked this guy up. Oh, we dumped him right after that one tournament. No, you fight
Yeah.
through it. You got to see if it's going to work. You have to give synergy a chance, and if you don't, then you're more prone to failure that way. So.
And with our lineup,
like
we have
that.
like a lot of young talent, right? People that are going to improve over time and get more used to the competitive scene over time. So something that we're doing at Rogue is we're really going to give this lineup a chance to succeed. We're going to give them all the tools that they need, and then push them to really come together as a unit and get their communication down, find structure within the team, and really improve over time.
Yeah. So who is the team? I know a lot. We've seen them play, but maybe people aren't familiar with the names because they're not the Xenotech or Call of the Meeks that are streaming multiple hours every day.
Well, our roster has changed since the autumn season. We parted ways with Afro and Archaic due to either a personal reasons or school reasons.
Okay.
And moving forward, because I know that's been a lot of speculation as to what happened with that, but that's essentially what happened. Archaic's taking AP courses and won't be able to play after spring, so I went for long term. What's going to do us better in the long term? So right now we have X Hammy as the carry, so he's going to be carrying, and then Wizard Sibs jungling,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Evol on the captain role. And we have Grasscoon as our super sub.
Okay.
I'll be coaching and managing, and I have odds analyzing, and I'm seeking
Okay.
a couple more analysts, and I know Rogue has a couple of things they're working to try and get us some more help in that aspect of analytical play and MOBA experience. So I think it's going to be a really exciting spring. I think that once again, we're going to be the underdog, and that's okay. We've never really not been the underdog, so we're used to it.
So, Greg, is this some like almost like weight off your shoulders? Like now having Frank and Rogue to help guide you and move you forward. Like you said earlier, you were doing this all by yourself, like just trying to figure it out.
It makes me feel a lot more confident that the team's going to get what they need, because I can take all of the focus I was doing on outside work for the org and trying to build the in-game community and our Twitter and social to try and build a fan base around the team. So I don't have to do that anymore. All I have to do is focus on the team and take care of the team. And that makes me feel a lot less stressed out, because I was sitting here on my computer. I wake up and I go to work at 5 a.m, and if I want to go to the gym, I got to be out of the house by 4:30. And sometimes I was going to bed at 2:30 in the morning after getting home from work and watching both the kids while trying to play, set up stream, work on sponsorships, reply to this, and so it's a lot nicer to know that that's not going to be my main focus. My focus is going to be to take care of the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels terrific. This is what I was looking for a long time ago, but you have to fight for what you want.
That's this is awesome. Awesome news. Really exciting to hear. Anything else about Rogue that people should know or like I guess get excited for?
Well, we'll see you at live finals.
Okay. Oh, that's big.
So,
So I think there's. Oh God.
So with our announcement, we'll also be releasing a video. I think it will be in client, hopefully today or tomorrow, when this comes
Okay.
out. But we'll be releasing a video announcing the team, and in terms of things to look forward to, I think that you can really look forward to us improving over time.
Okay.
We're gonna take the time to really make this roster work. We're gonna work on communication. We're gonna work on risk aversion, risk assessment. We're gonna work on communication with team fighting. We're gonna work on objective control. You're not gonna see us take a crack and then not be able to push. That's the goal.
Okay. And I think it'll be nice too to see some of those maybe fans of your Overwatch team come over to Vainglory and give it a try, because that's, I think, something that is going to help with the game too, just grow it on a whole and get your fans that are already excited for your other teams get excited for the new Vainglory team.
Yeah, I've been so impressed by the Overwatch community because it seems to be a community that's willing to try any other game. So we recently acquired an H1Z1 team, and a lot of our Overwatch fans were tweeting us about playing H1Z1. So hopefully the same thing will happen here.
Awesome. Well, I'll include a link to the announcement. And yeah, thanks guys for coming on and giving me the opportunity to talk with you guys and announce it here on the podcast. This was great.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Brad.
Sure. And yeah, everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. All these episodes go live on shatterthevain.com, and links to everything we talk about, announcements, players, it's all there. So check that out. I'll be back with 142 next week. Take care.
Shatter the Vain.
Let's get this over with.